Representative Leila de Lima.
Salamat po. Magandang umaga po. On behalf of the House Prosecution Panel, we welcome and thank our friends from the media for joining us today. This morning, the House Prosecution Panel is making an important announcement regarding the strengthening of its legal and communications teams in connection with the impeachment proceedings against Vice President Sara Duterte. It is therefore our privilege to formally introduce the newest members of the private prosecution panel, as well as the panel's additional spokesperson and impeachment advisor. So ito po yung mga miyembro ng the second batch of private prosecutors. The first to be introduced, although he's not here because of a prior commitment, is Attorney Theodore Te. Kilala niyo na po siya. Attorney Te is a former Chief Public Information Officer and spokesperson of the Supreme Court, the interim chairperson of the Free Legal Assistance Group, or FLAG, and a full-time faculty member of the UP College of Law. He has argued major constitutional and human rights cases before the Court of Appeals and the Supreme Court, served as a bar examiner 3 times, and led legal aid and civil liberties work involving freedom of expression, press freedom, due process, and the protection of civil and political rights. So that's Attorney Theodore Te. Next, we are pleased to introduce Attorney Reynaldo Robles, founding and managing partner of Chan Robles and Associates. Attorney Robles is a veteran lawyer with experience in criminal and civil litigation, corporate law, election law, labor, taxation, and public-private partnership work. He placed 10th in the 1990 bar examinations, graduated cum laude and class valedictorian from FEU Law, and has extensive legislative experience as a former Senate Chief Legislative Consultant who helped craft committee reports and final versions of more than 50 bills. Yan po si Attorney Reynaldo Robles. Please stand to be recognized. Salamat po, Attorney Robles. Also joining the private prosecution panel, is Attorney Arnold Labay, CPA, a senior partner of Chan, Robles and Associates. Attorney Labay brings the combined discipline of law and accounting, having passed both the CPA board examination and the bar, and having spent decades in litigation practice. He previously served as managing partner and litigation lawyer of Labay, Madamba, Picho law offices, taught remedial law review, evidence and civil law, and authored a book on persons and family relations. Let's welcome Attorney Arnold H. Labay. We also welcome, on my left, Attorney May Divina Gracia, managing partner of Co. Nazario Velasco Catera and Divina Gracia law offices. Attorney Divina Gracia has handled commercial, civil, and criminal litigation, arbitration, product liability, corporate rehabilitation, intercorporate disputes, labor, and family law. She previously practiced with Accra Law's Litigation and Dispute Resolution Department, teaches law at Ateneo de Manila University, Ateneo de Naga University, and the Polytechnic University of the Philippines, and represented the Philippines in major moot court competitions, including the JESOP International Moot Court and the Asia Cup in Tokyo. Attorney May Divina Gracia, welcome. Finally, we are pleased to announce that former Surigao del Norte Representative Robert A's Barbers joins the House Prosecution Panel as an additional spokesperson and impeachment advisor. Wala po siya ngayon, also because of previous or a prior commitment. As you know, former Representative Barbers served as governor of Surigao del Norte, a 6-term member of the House of Representatives, and chair of key congressional committees, including the Committee on Dangerous Drugs and the historic Quad Committee. He brings to the team decades of legislative experience, a strong record in public accountability work, and a clear, direct communication style that will help explain the impeachment process and its significance to the Filipino people. So, ladies and gentlemen, former Surigao del Norte Representative Robert A. Barbers as additional spokesperson and impeachment advisor. Please join me in welcoming our distinguished legal professionals and public servant to the House Prosecution Panel. With us also today is of course Attorney Benjamin J. Tolosa Jr., the legal spokesperson of the Prosecution Panel. Salamat po.
Okay, may we also hear an opening statement from Congressman Jokno?
Ayan. Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. I am proud to be here beside the new private prosecutors that we have introduced this morning. Yung karamihan po sa kanila ay nakasama ko na sa iba't ibang mga korte, either as co-counsel or I have observed them appear in court in various court proceedings. And I am very certain that they will be bringing a lot of expertise to the prosecution in the coming days. So I'm very thankful that my colleagues are here this morning, and I look forward to working with them in the coming trial. Yun lang po, we are ready to answer questions. Thank you.
Look, before we entertain questions from our friends from the media, siguro let's give each one of them a opportunity to give a brief statement. Let's start from the right, Attorney Labay.
Magandang umaga po. Ako po ay kabilang sa hanay ng tinatawag na Generation X, senior citizen. Kami po ng aking partner, si Attorney Robles. At alam ko po na marami sa aming henerasyon ang nababahala sa mga nangyayari na maraming nagpapakalat ng mapanira at mga mapanirang fake news. Kung kaya sa impeachment proceedings po na ito, iniimbita po natin ang sambayan ng Pilipino na makinig, manood, at maging mapanuri upang sila po mismo sa sarili nila malaman nila kung ano yung totoo. Sapagkat sa dulo naman po lahat ng ito, kami po sa prosecution panel, ang nais lang naman po namin ay manaig ang katotohanan at makamit ang hustisya. Salamat po.
Si Attorney Robles naman po ang ating bigyan ng pagkakataon.
Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. No? Siguro po itong batch ng private prosecutors na to, masasabi ko, kami ho yung normally would rather blend in the background, no? And would do our work quietly, no? And let our work speak for itself, no? Pero dito po sa impeachment case na ito, kami po naglakas ng loob na mag-volunteer dahil sa tingin po namin, hindi na pwede po yung pipikit na lang natin yung ating mata samantalang may mga nangyayari sa ating lipunan na hindi nakatanggap-tanggap. No? At hindi na rin pwede na isa walang kibo na lang natin. No? So nandito po kami, we volunteered because we want to help out in the process of accountability ordained in the Constitution. No? We also want to, kagaya ng sabi ni Attorney Labay, na ipalabas yung katotohanan, no, dito sa mga nangyari, no, sa ating bayan. And we think that our little experience sa litigation at bilang mga abogado makakatulong sa ating distinguished panel of public prosecutors para mapalabas yung katotohanan. No? And sabi nga sa Biblia, and we will know the truth, and the truth shall set us free. No? It will allow us to rebuild our trust in the institutions, the public institutions, para makasulong ang ating bayan at ang ating lipunan sa pag-unlad na ating tinatamasa. Kasi kailangan nating mag-umpisa uli dahil sa mga nangyari dito sa ating bayan. And we can only do that if we can actually determine kung ano yung nangyari through this process of impeachment. Yun lamang po. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Attorney Robles. Attorney, yes. And let's hear now from Attorney Divina Gracia.
Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. It's an honor for me to be working with great legal minds in this very important constitutional process. Tulad po ng nasabi ni Attorney Ray, like the other private prosecutors, I joined the prosecution team for one reason, and that's accountability. I believe that we, the Filipino people, deserve nothing less than absolute transparency and accountability from our leaders. So I hope yung litigation experience ko po over the years will help in presenting the facts clearly and objectively to demand accountability from the Vice President. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Divina Gracia. Si Attorney Jay, importante nga yung kanyang role dahil siya yung spokesperson, lalo na yung mga legal terms. May we hear from Attorney Jay kung anong may bago bang development ngayon?
Well, good morning, everyone. Well, first of all, we're very pleased to welcome to the team officially Attorneys Labay, Robles, and Divina Gracia. And I'm honored to serve alongside distinguished litigators, of course, together with the public prosecutors. And I'm not sure if I'll be allowed to take questions later after this so that I could give updates if necessary.
Okay, thank you, sir. Ngayon po, pwede na nating tanggapin yung inyong mga questions. For the sake of orderly proceeding, kindly limit your questions to 2 and for 1 follow-up. And then, please wait your turn na ma-acknowledge kayo para po maayos ang ating proceedings. Para po sa unang magtatanong, let's recognize Tina Perez from GMA 7.
Good morning po. For Kongs De Lima and Jokno, the Vice President po invoked freedom of expression and the lack of proof that she contracted an assassin, as well as confidentiality of bank records and the AMLAC reports in her reply to the articles of impeachment. Ano pong masasabi niyo doon?
Thank you, Tina, for that question, but I'm afraid that we cannot really dwell on that as extensively as we would, because that's already touching on the merits. That's part of the defense of the Vice President, alleged freedom of expression and then the alleged confidentiality of BIR tax records. But we, of course, espouse the contrary view, but we'd rather that we articulate on this in due time before the impeachment court. Kasi po malinaw naman po sa patakaran ng Senate Rules of Procedure on Impeachment Trials that prosecutors, just like senator judges, ay hindi po pwede mag-comment on the merits ng kaso. Ang pwede lang po namin ay yung procedural and magbigay ng updates, ng status of the case, but not dwelling into the merits of the case. Kasi depensa na po nila yan. Yung tungkol sa alleged freedom of expression that is related to the Article 4 on contracting of an assassin, grave threats, and inciting to sedition. And then yung tungkol naman po sa BIR tax records, that would be part of Article 2, unexplained wealth. Although po, as you recall, ay kasama na po yan sa mga naging proposals ng prosecution for the consideration of the defense and also the impeachment court tungkol sa pagbubukas ng BIR box na yan. Pero ang hinihiling lang naman namin ay yung pagbubukas ng BIR box na yan, kasama yung kanyang mga laman para makita na yung laman, yung contents, magkaroon ng inventory at markahan na bilang ebidensya. Wala pa po dyan yung admissibility, wala pa dyan yung relevance, wala pa dyan yung evidentiary weight or probative value. So, hindi po yan pwedeng tutulan yung pagbukas at pagmarka. And in fact, dun sa comment po ng defense on our manifestation with proposal on certain matters, on certain pretrial matters, kasama po yung BIR box, ay parang sinasabi nila na they are not averse to the opening of the BIR box. Kaya lang ang sinasabi nila, ang kanilang hiling ay dapat daw sa executive session at wag na munang ipamigay o ipakita yung mga laman na yan. We are responding to that. At again, para lang hindi tayo pumasok sa diskusyon tungkol sa merits. Bakit kailangan pa ng executive session? Pwede naman yan gawin na. I-assign lang isang team, for example, para buksan at para ipamarka yung mga laman niya. Thank you.
Dadagdag ko lang po. While we do not want to respond to the merits or defenses being raised by the Vice President, just allow me please to restate what is clearly the settled jurisprudence when it comes to freedom of speech. Alam po ito ng lahat ng mga abogado, alam din ito ng lahat ng mga law students. Freedom of speech is not absolute. There are limits to freedom of speech, and of course, we will leave it to the impeachment court to resolve the arguments made by the Vice President. We are very, very ready to respond in the proper forum. Thank you.
In the same reply po, the Vice President asked that the articles of impeachment be dismissed for lack of evidence. Does the rules of the Senate Impeachment Court provide that, the dismissal?
The Constitution itself is very clear that once the House of Representatives has transmitted the articles of impeachment to the Senate, ang tungkulin po ng Senado bilang impeachment court ay litisin agad-agad ang kaso. Pag sinabi po ng Constitution na itatrial ang case, that means that they will hear the evidence. So as far as we are concerned, 2 points I'd like to raise. Number one, there's no room, in my opinion, in the Constitution for that kind of mechanism. And number two, hindi naman po appeals court ang Senado bilang impeachment court sa ginawa ng House of Representatives nung nasa amin pa ang kaso. Thank you.
Additional lang to sa punto na yan. Maski mismo sa Senate Rules of Procedure and Impeachment Trials ay wala yung tungkol dyan na i-dispose na muna or kailangan muna ng pagtalakay dun sa mga defenses at yung dismissal. Kasi sabi na nga ni Kong Chel ay klaro po ang nasa saligang batas natin. The mandate of the Senate is to try and decide impeachment cases. Thank you.
Baka lang po yung private prosecs would want to comment.
Bilang karagdagan lang po, meron naman pong precedents na doon sa mga previous impeachment cases. Doon po sa kaso ni President Erab at saka ni former Chief Justice Corona, that the defense attempted to raise issues to have the case dismissed at yun po ay binasura ng impeachment court. So maliwanag po yung precedent in that regard.
And I guess it's also premature for them to be raising lack of evidence without first allowing the prosecution to present its evidence.
All right. Annalyn?
Good morning po, Ann Soberano of Bombo Radio Philippines. Good morning po, Attorney and Kongs. Good morning. Hiniling po ni BP Sara na i-void, just a follow-up question lang din po related doon sa nauna. Hiniling po ni BP Sara na i-void ang impeachment case at ang sinasabi niya na ang pagbabanta kay Presidente ay bahagi ng freedom of speech. sakali pong tatanggapin ng Senado ang nasabing argumento tungkol sa freedom of speech, yung pagbabanta ni Vice President Sara, ano ang maaring maging epekto nito sa pananagutan ng mga halal na opisyal? Thank you po.
Malaki siyempre ang epekto na yan kung hindi papayagan yung pagpresenta ng evidence doon sa contracting an assassin and then making grave threats. That's Article 4 of the Articles of Impeachment. Paano yan? Anyone can just be blurting out all of those threatening words and remarks from a high official at that. And it's a high official, happens to be the second highest official of the land, making those threatening statements against the highest official. So ano na po mangyayari? Anybody can just do that? And then paano po yan? Ay karapatan din ng prosecution na ilatag yung mga ebidensya, i-prove yung punto na yan. Trial po tayo. So kailangan payagan ang pagpresenta ng mga evidence para ilatag yung facts for the consideration of the impeachment court at para malaman, makita, marinig ng sambayanang Pilipino. So that's merely, yung procedural na naman yan, technicality na naman yan, even if they're raising such freedom of expression. But again, karapatan ng prosecution to prove its case against the Vice President.
Meron po kayong madagdag?
Tingin ko, premature na i-consider ng impeachment court yung sinasabing ang depensa na yan. Para sa akin, dapat haharap muna si Vice Presidente. At siya, dapat manggaling mismo sa bibig niya sa harapan ng court kung ano yung nasa isip niya nung sinabi niya yung mga salitang yon. At dapat rin na bigyan kami ng karapatan na i-cross-examine siya dun sa sinasabi nga niyang claims, kung ano man yon, freedom of speech o kung meron pa siyang ibang paliwanag.
A follow-up lang po. Sa tingin niyo, anong mga legal na batayan ang dapat gamitin ng mga senador sa pagdesisyon kung dapat bang ibasura ang impeachment? Thank you. Last.
Well, I think the jurisprudence is clear that yung decision nila kung may conviction o acquittal ay nasa sa kanilang mismo yon, nasa kamay nila. In terms of what if your question pertains to ano ba yung dapat standard of proof, yung sinasabi nga nila pang criminal case na proof beyond reasonable doubt, or civil case na preponderance of evidence, or administrative case na substantial evidence, wala naman pong ganon pagdating sa impeachment. And that is really a matter that each and every senator judge will have to decide for herself or himself.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ann. Haji?
Good morning po. Hello po. Haji Kaaminyo po from Brigada News FM. First off, may statement po or in an interview, sabi po ni Senate President Win Gatchalian that yung impeachment trial could last up to 7 or 8 months. Sa palagay po ninyo, although you've requested already na at least 62 trial dates no para po sa presentation ng mga witnesses ng evidence, but sa palagay po ninyo yung 7 to 8 months na yun, mahaba po ba yun or sakto lang po ba yun? What are your thoughts po on the estimated timeline?
First of all, talagang estimate lang po yan. Hindi po tayo makakasiguro gaano talaga to tatagal. 7 months ba or less than 7 months? Kasi even if linatag na natin yung ilan ang mga witnesses on both sides at i-reflect nga yan po sa pretrial order na inaasahan na ipapalabas ngayon ng impeachment court, ay depende po talaga yan sa developments ng kaso. Kasi hindi naman po ibig sabihin na lahat ng mga linista by both prosecution and defense ay talagang ipipresenta. Depende talaga yan sa mga magiging takbo at magiging itsura ng trial. Baka merong ilang mga facts na hindi na kailangan talaga na meron ipresenta na witness o may ipresenta na documents. At ganun din yung tungkol dun sa 4 articles. Kasi yung 7 months na yan, that's on the premise na lahat ng mga balak ng prosecution na ipipresent ay ipipresent talaga. At lahat na articles of impeachment, yung 4 na yan, ay ipoprove o i-develop ng prosecution. Pwede rin po kasi na kapag sa tingin, sa assessment, evaluation ng prosecution, pagkatapos na ipresenta or ng 1 or 2 articles or even 3 articles, ay pwede nang i-dispense yung pag-prove ng other articles, ng 1 or 2 articles, para mas madali. Kung sa tingin namin ay malakas na para makasecure ng conviction. And if that happens, then necessarily, shorten yung trial period. Thank you.
But just to follow up on that po, pero kung kayo po yung tatanungin, would it be better kung mas mapapabilis po yung usad ng trial? Like for example, yun nga po, masunod yung 2 or 3 witnesses per day.
Tingnan ho natin kung kaya yon. Again, depende yan. Kasi syempre may mga witnesses na medyo mahaba ang kanilang testimonya. So baka sa isang araw lang yan, kasama na yung cross-examination. Pero meron mga witnesses na hindi naman ganun kahaba and therefore pwede talagang i-present 2 o 3 sa isang trial date. Again, it depends really on the nature of the testimony and on the witness. Ay kung ilang araw, isang araw lang ba, isang witness o several witnesses, 2 or 3 witnesses per trial date. So depende po yan. Thank you.
Okay. Last question na lang po. Sa mga private prosecutors po natin, I think sabi niyo nga po kanina, most of you will work in the background nga po. Pero sa palagay po ninyo, papaano po magagamit yung mga expertise po ninyo doon sa case against the Vice President? Kasi I understand, parang may CPA po yata sa inyo. Like for example, pwede po ba siyang magamit pagdating doon sa usapin ng unexplained wealth or sa confidential funds? Salamat po.
Magandang umaga po. Opo, sagot sa katanungan, magagamit po yan. Hindi lang naman po ako yung CPA, may mga kasama po rin tayo sa private prosecutors na CPA din po. Salamat po.
Okay. Next question from Joy.
Good morning po, Joy Cantos po from Philippine Star. Ma'am, itanong ko lang po sa mga private prosecutors natin at saka sa inyo na yung case po kay Abby Andres of Davao City Sheriff, is there really a need to present him kasi parang total po yung defense panel at to establish daw po yung behavioral pattern of violence whether the Vice President is that to skuldugger in nature?
Siguro po, yung defense, tutol, pero ang presentation po kasi ng evidence for the prosecution ay nasa control ng prosecutors. No? So, they could interpose their objections at sigurado naman papakinggan sila ng impeachment court, pero may karapatan din po yung prosecution na mag-decision kung sino yung gusto ng prosecution na i-present bilang witnesses. No?
Okay.
In other words, ang pagpipresenta ng ebidensya ay nasa kamay ng side ng party na nagpipresent nito. So kung kagustuhan ng prosecution panel na ipresenta kung sinong witness, including that sheriff, then wala po magagawa ang defense dyan. Katulad din sa defense, kung sino yung gusto nila na ipresenta, basta ba nasa listahan as disclosed in the pre-trial brief and indicated in the pre-trial order, then wala rin po magagawa ang the other side o ay yung prosecution. So the manner of presenting evidence, including who to present, really rests in the party presenting. Thank you.
Tulad nga po ng sabi, kung ano po yung ipipresentang ebidensya, kung sino. It's purely prosecutorial privilege. Ang limit lang po siguro is whether the evidence to be presented is relevant and competent, meaning whether it's allowed by the rules or by law.
What if umatras po yung witness, hindi makukumpel pa rin po ba?
Yes po, meron pong compulsory processes ang impeachment court. Pwede po isubpoena ang mga recalcitrant witnesses.
Okay. Can the Vice President invoke executive privilege or claim of executive immunity to hold her testimony kasi they want to dismiss, and can prior findings on the ruling be considered as res judicata if there is legal framework to prove the case? Yung parameters po.
Katulad po ng mga nasabi kanina, yung mga ganiyang mga argumento, wala na po yan dapat sa trial. Kasi yung parang yan na yung mga grounds nila for dismissal. At hindi nga dismissal dapat ang target sa isang impeachment case, kundi yung pagpapatuloy ng pagpipresenta ng evidence, kasi nga ang mandato ng Senado is to try and decide impeachment cases. Ang mandato ng Senado, sasabihin later, after listening to all the evidence, ay either conviction or acquittal.
All right. Let's hear now from Marian.
Good morning po. Kong Jokno, you mentioned earlier, karapatan ng prosekusyon to prove its case, kailangan muna humarap ang vice-presidente, sabihin sa harap ng court kung ano nga yung nasa isip niya, nung sinabi nga po niya yung threat. But we did not list VP Sara as our witness, no? I'm not sure kung sa defense. And I understand hindi po makokompel ng Senate Impeachment Court po na humarap or padaluhin si VP Sara. Is it the prosecution stand na sana humarap po ang vice sa impeachment trial?
That's entirely the call of her defense panel. But we are ready to cross-examine her if she comes out and testifies. Actually, maski noong pang Committee on Justice Proceedings, if you recall, every time nagkaka-hearing, ini-invite ng committee si Vice President. At ito na rin ang pagkakataon niya na ipaliwanag yung kanyang mga depensa at yung mga sinasabi nga niya na sa media pa lang so far.
All right.
Can I just add something quickly to that?
Attorney Jay.
Yeah. And just to clarify, under the rules, it's expressly stated there that the impeachment court shall require the respondent to both file an answer and appear in court. So far, in the issuances of the impeachment court, that second part, requiring her to appear, has not been done. So we will wait for the impeachment court when it will find it appropriate to require her to do so.
All right, thank you, sir. Attorney May, you mentioned earlier it is premature to request for the dismissal of the impeachment case without allowing the presentation of evidence. Ano pong tingin ninyo dito sa nilatag nila, no, na as early as now, gusto na nilang ibasura po itong impeachment case?
Yun nga po, tulad ng sinabi ko, it's premature. Kasi kailangan munang tingnan ng impeachment court kung talagang merong ebidensya o wala. Hindi sila pwedeng magsabi na walang ebidensya, na hindi binibigyan ng pagkakataon ang prosecution na ilatag ang mga ebidensyang pinipare nito.
Do we agree with the sentiment of some lawmakers na wala naman pala kasi talagang defense si VP Sara dito sa kanyang trial?
Well, yan din po yung that has always been the position of the prosecution. Kasi kung meron kayong ebidensya, bakit hindi nyo ito ipakita, ba't hindi nyo ito ilabas? At hindi nyo ito ilista at pangalanan?
And other private prosecutors?
Yun nga po. Kaya tayo may trial para magkaroon ng pagkakataon yung bawat panig, both yung prosecution at yung defense, para ipresenta yung kanilang ebidensya. No? Yung sinasabi po ng depensa na walang ebidensya, it does not make sense. No? Because the reason we have a trial is for both parties to present their evidence. So talagang premature po yung sinasabi nilang walang ebidensya. Kasi makikita lang po natin yon pag nagkaroon ng trial. So kaya po sinasabi ni Attorney May na premature yung kanilang gusto na i-dismiss na lang yung kaso. At kagaya po ng nasabi namin kanina, wala pong provision sa rules of the Senate at saka sa Constitution na nag-aalaw ng dismissal ng impeachment case na walang trial.
All right, let's hear from Danesca.
Good morning po. Lianas Kapante, GMA News Online. About yung threats po against the President, First Lady, and former Speaker, in disputing that threats, should the Vice President take the witness stand for that? Dapat po bang i-require siya doon to testify? Kasi na-mention ni Congressman Jokno kanina about kasi siya mismo yung nag-utter nung words, nung threats, unlike yung ibang allegations na you would need documents for that and other mga receipts, ganun. Ito po kasi yung threat mismo, siya yung nagsasalita dun sa video. So in disputing that, dapat ba si Vice President, kasi na-mention ni Kong Jokno, we should be allowed to cross-examine her for that specific allegation. Thank you.
Nasa sa kanya po yan. That's the call of her lawyers and herself. However, I think that for the court to have a full appreciation of what she's claiming, then the court, I think, would benefit from hearing her explain personally why she said those things that we all saw.
Meron pong idadagdag yung ibang tutor.
Hello. Danesca, who are you addressing the question to?
Baka po yung ibang prosecutor would like to comment.
Yung
Kailangan ba siya mismo yung mag-dispute nung kanyang sinasabing nung video and siya mismo yung magsabi sa court na this is part of my freedom of expression? Thank you.
Yun nga po, kagaya ng nasabi na po ni Dean Shell, no? It's the call of the defense, no? Pero wag po nating kalimutan na itong issue na ito nagbuhat sa isang video na siya mismo ang nagsabi. Nakitang-kita ng ating mga kababayan na the threats were made, no, by her, no. Siguro since yung defense na sinasabi niya na ini-invoke niya yung freedom of expression, personal din sa kanya yun eh. Mas convincing or mas kapani-paniwala siguro kung maririnig din sa sarili niyang bibig yung kanyang ini-invoke na depensa at magkaroon ng pagkakataon yung prosecution para matanong siya on cross-examination kung paano at under what circumstances niya nasabi yon. So sa sariling bibig niya siya kinakasuhan, siguro mas kapani-paniwala kung sa sariling bibig niya siya maririnig kung ano yung paliwanag niya.
Thank you po.
Okay, thank you, Danesca. Next question.
Hello po, Lance po from Newswatch Plus 2. Congresswoman De Lima po or Congressman Shell Jokno. Kanina po, Congresswoman De Lima said na the defense team is asking for an executive session regarding the opening of the BIR box. Pero sabi po nila, hindi naman daw sila tutol dun sa pagbubukas. Sa hanay po ng House Prosecution Panel, may united stance na po ba kayo kung ano yung posisyon dun sa BIR box? Kasi as I remember, during the House Justice Committee hearing, even the lawmakers are split kung bubuksan o hindi, kaya po nagdesisyon na ipaubaya na lang sa impeachment court yung desisyon doon. Sa inyo po, may united stance na po ba yung mga prosecutors?
Ang pwede ko pong sabihin ngayon is tungkol sa pag-open ng BIR box saka sa pagpapamarka ng mga laman nito ay kailangan, ay dapat talagang buksan yan at dapat talagang makita yung laman. Kasi wala naman ito tungkol pa sa admissibility or relevance katulad ng sinabi ko kanina, yung probative value tsaka yung evidentiary weight. So, yun po ang aming posisyon. Now, ang sa amin nga, at least my position is that hindi naman kailangan ng executive executive session. Bakit kailangan pa ng executive session? Yun lang naman ang gagawin muna. Saka na lang yung pagtalunan, yung tungkol nga dun sa kanilang mga sinasabi na hindi pwede dahil merong confidentiality provisions. But it is our right at this point, the prosecution, to really mark those exhibits kasi kasama yan sa listahan ng aming mga evidence. And ganun din actually sa defense. Meron sila sa reserve evidence nila, nakasabi doon, BIR submissions. So baka kasama yan, yung mga ITRs of the spouses, BP Sara and Manscarpio, and yung mga companies na meron silang business interest, yung mga other tax records. So yes, kailangan buksan yan para markahan yung laman yan. Yan po ang pinakaposisyon ng prosecution. Thank you.
Alright. And sa clarification na lang din po dun sa private prosecutors, kumpleto na po ba sa ngayon? This is the last batch na po or meron pa po kayong i-announce na bago? Just for clarification.
Alam ko po meron pang third batch of private prosecutors na mag-enter ng appearance. Thank you.
Mga ilan po lahat ng private prosecutors? Kasi we're 1 week away from the trial. So, ilan po yung mga magjo-join? Or kabuuan? Ilan po yung kabuuan ng private prosecutors?
I don't have the numbers now, but certainly we are going to decide on that in time for the trial. Kasi technically and strictly, a private prosecutor can actually enter appearance anytime, even already in the course of trial. Hindi naman kailangan na lahat ng mga pangalan, lahat ng mga magiging private prosecutors ay mag-enter ng appearance na before July 6, which is the first day of trial. So while trial is ongoing, wala pong prohibition in the rules, in the law, na hindi na pwedeng dagdagan yung listahan ng private prosecutors. Thank you.
Okay, let's hear from Dwight.
And hello, good afternoon po. Dwight De Leon here from Rappler. Siguro just like to ask categorically sa bahagi po ng prosecution, do you think it would be unconstitutional for the Senate to dismiss the trial before hearing the impeachment case? Kasi if that is possible, given na if some senator introduces a motion to dismiss the trial and they entertain it, under that scenario, would it be unconstitutional for the Senate to dismiss the trial?
Our position has always been, and this dates back to last year, that the function and duty of the Senate is to conduct a trial, to hear the evidence and then come up with a decision. And therefore, in answer to your question, yun lang dapat ang maaring gawin ng ating Senado bilang impeachment court. Yan ang posisyon po namin.
Just to be clear, it would go against the letter and the spirit of the Constitution if dismiss at this point, even before the trial itself, even before the presentation of evidence and evaluation of evidence. Salamat.
On another topic po, if I remember po doon sa manifestation nyo last week, nilagay nyo po doon na, request nyo doon that public and private prosecutors be allowed to participate in witness examination. How confident are you po that this request will be granted by the impeachment court, and how important is it that private prosecutors be allowed in witness examination?
Yes, we are confident that both public prosecutors and private prosecutors will be allowed to participate in the witness presentation. Ganun naman talaga sa trial, even the regular courts, and also merong precedents in the past impeachment cases of the former President Erap Estrada and the former Chief Justice Renato Corona, that private prosecutors were allowed to participate, were allowed to present a witness, either sa direct or for purposes of cross, basta ba under control and supervision. Wala po sa Senate Rules of Procedure in Impeachment na pinagbabawal yan. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, Rule 13 allows it in the Senate Rules of Procedure in impeachment cases. Now, pwede ang private prosecutor, basta ba under the control and supervision. It will facilitate in the efficient presentation of evidence and assist actually the impeachment court in its full evaluation or full layout of the facts. Nakasabi po yan sa aming manifestation, pero tinututulan po ito ng defense. Kaya this matter will be subject now to the for the resolution of the impeachment court.
Sir, ma'am, kailan po magpa-file ng entry of appearance ito pong latest batch of private prosecutors?
We are already preparing the entry of appearance and it can be filed as early as this afternoon.
Okay po. And last question na lang po, patungkol lang po doon sa spokespersons. I think pang-apat na po siguro si former Congressman Ace Barbers na napangalanan ding spokesperson. What is just the value of having too many spokespersons in the upcoming impeachment trial sa bahagi po ng prosecution?
3 and 4 spokespersons, hindi naman po marami yan. So far, hindi naman po marami yung spokesperson. So even if magdagdag po ang prosecution ng kanyang spokesperson, makakatulong po yan sa pag-relay, sa pag-explain sa publiko. Kasi this is such an important process, yung impeachment trial. Kailangan po mas malinaw na nasasabi sa publiko kung ano yung mga nangyayari dyan sa impeachment trial. So the more the better actually na meron talagang mga several spokespersons for the prosecution para hinahati-hati rin yung kanilang tungkulin as such. Thank you.
Salamat po.
All right, Eden, it's your turn.
Good morning po, Eden Santos from Net25. May statement po from Senate President Sherwin Gatchalian na baka sa February next year, abutin po yung impeachment trial from September yata ang narinig namin original po. Sa part po ng prosecution panel, hindi po ba ito nakakadismaya na inaasahan natin sana yung forthwith para dito sa paglilitis kay Vice President Sara Duterte? At paano po makakatulong yung private prosecutors para po mas mapabilis pa yung impeachment trial?
Tulad nga po ng sinabi kanina, yung time period na nabanggit is just a conservative estimate. But trust that the prosecution is doing its best to expedite the process without, of course, sacrificing its case.
Thank you po.
No more follow-ups? All right, Willie?
Magandang hapon, no. Doon po sa 4 na articles, ano po doon yung sa tingin yung natatangi? Dahil I understand, once na makakuha na kahit isa lang na articles ng conviction, handa nang i-waive or i-drop ng prosecution yung iba pang mga articles.
Hindi po namin pwedeng sabihin ngayon alin dyan yung pinakamalakas. Kasi para sa amin lahat naman yan ay malakas. Kaya lang depende nga sa mga magiging takbo ng impeachment trial. Kung nakapag-presenta na halimbawa ng 2 articles at sa tingin namin malakas na talaga, ay hindi na kailangan namin ipresenta yung tungkol naman sa other articles. Pero at this point, I would not want to really say it because as far as the prosecution panel is concerned, lahat naman po yan ay malakas. Thank you.
Attorney Jokno.
Nasagot na po ni Kong Laila.
Alright. Susugan ko lang yung tanong kanina regarding dun sa dismissal. Di ho ba magbobotohan yan kung acquitted or convicted, no? What if yung binabanggit kanina na tanong, kung mayroong mag-motion at humiling ng botohan kaagad? Dahil I understand, sa acquittal mababa lang 9 lang kinakailangan What if magkaroon po ng ganong senaryo?
Of course, we cannot rule out such a scenario, pero tututulan po talaga ng todo yan ng prosecution because we are maintaining very firmly yung aming position na wala pong nakasabi sa saligang batas na pwede na siyang i-dismiss at this stage. Ang nakasabi doon is after trial, kailangan desisyonan. Ano ba? Conviction, guilty or innocent, conviction or acquittal. So tututulan po namin kung merong ganyang scenario na may mag-move na ipa-dismiss na based, for example, dun sa mga grounds na rinaise doon sa answer. Hindi po pwede yan para sa amin. So tututulan po talaga namin, and we will take or exhaust available remedy kung sakaling mangyari yan. Thank you.
If I may just add, yung decision po to waive further presentation of evidence, it's on the prosecution. So the defense cannot impose on us.
Pahabol lang. Sa mga private prosecutors, may napipisilo ba kayo kung anong articles sa tingin nyo yung pwedeng mas fit kayo? Doon sa 4 na articles.
At this point po, we cannot comment on that because that would already go into the merits of the case. But rest assured that we're ready to present all articles. The days leading up to the pre-trial, the prosecution team has been sifting through all available records and going over possible testimony. So we're ready po.
All right, thank you.
All right, Isa?
Magandang tanghali po, Isa Umali po from DCWB. Para po sa ating private prosecutors, doon po sa first batch ng private prosecutors, natanong din po ito. Pero this time po, kayo naman po yung tatanungin namin. Handa po ba kayo na halongkatin ng mga netizens or ng critics yung inyo po mga background? Kasi batay po sa information, si Attorney May Divinagracia po, nagsilbi po kayong abogado ni dating DPWH Undersecretary Catalina Cabral and si Attorney Reynaldo Robles po, dating legal counsel ni former Senator Antonio Trillanes. Marami pong salamat.
Well, we expect that po, it's part of the territory. In fact, we expect people to raise issues if only to divert attention from this important constitutional process. So yes, expected po siya. Now, kung ang may pag-aalinlangan po, kung yung tanong po is there any inconsistency between my representation of former Yusek Cabral and my participation now in this impeachment proceedings, I don't see, with all due respect, I don't see any inconsistency. When I represented former Yusek Cabral, I was defending her due process rights. And accountability po entails due process, evidence, fairness, and respect for the law, which is also material in this process. And whether, so again, I don't see any inconsistency. My defense of the due process rights of one client is not inconsistent with my helping in the pursuit of public accountability.
Siguro po, very well said by Attorney May, no, na kami po, we are legal professionals, no? And we represent our clients primarily to fight for their rights to due process and to be given the fair trial in court. No? Hindi po ibig sabihin na nirepresent namin yung isang kliyente na nag-a-agree tayo sa lahat ng nasa isip o ginawa ng isang kliyente. No? Nandun po kami as advocates kasi mahirap pong magpresenta ng ebidensya ang isang lay person before the courts. No? Kailangan ng tulong ng abogado. Ito po yung trabaho namin and we understand na fair game yan na pwedeng busisiin ng mga critics, no? Kung ano yung background namin. But at the end of the day, ang issue lang is meron ba kaming conflict of interest? So sa tingin naman po namin, in my case, I represented former Senator Trillanes. No? Siya naman po consistent sa habol sa accountability ng ating mga public officers. No? So itong ginagawa ko po, bagamat sabi ko nga kanina, normally we would just be rather in the background. No? Pero siguro itong panahon na to, kailangan na rin po nating tumindig para sa kinabukasan ng ating mga anak at mga siguro future generation. No? Kaya po ako naglakas ng loob na mag-volunteer para tumulong. No? And because of that, we are ready for whatever, kung anumang kritisismo ang ilabas mo laban sa volunteer namin dito. Salamat po.
And if I may just add, I just forgot to say it earlier. Whether I'm defending a particular client or helping prosecute an impeachment case, my role remains the same, and that is to help in the presentation of the facts clearly, again, and objectively, to ensure the proper persons or the persons truly responsible are held to account.
Salamat po.
Alright.
Meron pa ho bang magtatanong? Kasi meron po kaming ihahabol.
Okay, we will entertain, entertain yung announcement ni Kong de Lima.
Okay, gusto ko rin pong i-announce that aside from being the legal spokesperson, ay kasama rin po as private prosecutor si Attorney Benjamin J. Tolosa Jr. Siya po ay, actually na-introduce na po siya dati as legal spokesperson, and now we're introducing him also as a private prosecutor. Attorney Tolosa is the founding and managing partner and head of the litigation and dispute resolution practice of the Tolosa Lim and Chua law firm, where he leads a team of over 25 lawyers handling complex and high-stakes disputes. He held in-house legal positions as legal counsel of the leading Fortune Global 500 multinational corporations Philippine affiliate and as general counsel of a regional conglomerate engaged in the retail and distribution of premium global brands. Siya po ay former senior associate of Accra Law, representing major corporations, senior executives, and public officials in complex and high-value disputes. Ang mga recognition po kasama po yung the prestigious Asia Law Profiles and Legal 500 Asia Pacific have consistently recognized Attorney Tolosa as a recommended lawyer and key partner for litigation and dispute resolution. Under Attorney Tolosa's leadership, the firm's litigation and dispute resolution practice has earned recognition from Legal 500 Asia Pacific, Asia Law Profiles, and Benchmark Litigation, and has received Asian Legal Business Boutique Litigation Firm of the Year awards on multiple occasions. Ang kanyang educational background po, he obtained Bachelor of Laws, University of Santo Tomas, ranked among the top 10 of a graduating class of 145. Bachelor of Arts, major in Legal Management, University of Santo Tomas, and recipient of the Outstanding Thomasian Award from the University of Santo Tomas Law Alumni Foundation, Inc. So sa puntong ito po siguro pwede nating pakinggan si Attorney Tolosa and magbibigay din po siya ng certain updates. Thank you.
Thank you, Congresswoman Laila. So I think some of you may already know me since I was introduced last week as a legal spokesperson. So now with the formal introduction as part of the prosecution team as well, no? So I'm also honored to serve in this capacity again, together with the honorable public prosecutors and respected other private prosecutors. So I also just wish to quickly clarify, that although it was stated that I'm a managing partner of my firm, I'm participating in this proceeding strictly in my personal capacity. And as I've mentioned last week, as a trial lawyer, I've found it meaningful opportunity to place my experience in the service of this important constitutional process. Maybe, as mentioned by Kong Lale, I could give some updates about the case as well. So as everyone knows already, the pre-trial conference has officially concluded last Thursday. So under the rules, the impeachment court has 10 days to issue a pre-trial order. But of course, they don't need to exhaust that entire period. So we're expecting to receive that pre-trial order sometime soon, but definitely before July 6. And after the issuance of the pre-trial order, parties will be given an opportunity to file motions for the correction of the pre-trial order if necessary. So now, the only pending incidents are the requests that we filed. Some of them we've tackled already. I guess the most major among those is the opening of the BIR box. Now, as noted, although last Thursday, as reported, the defense vehemently objected to opening and even just the marking of the box itself. But we're pleased that at least the next day, in their formal submission, they changed their stance and said that they're open to having the box opened, and that we could conduct an inventory of its contents and we could mark the same, but under specific conditions, which is that it be done in executive session and that it be made confidential from the public. So it should not be released from the public. That's one of the conditions that they've stated. Now, just so not to belabor the point and so that it may not cause any delay, we will leave it to the discretion of the impeachment court, with respect to those conditions. But insofar as we're concerned, we would like to take that as a positive step towards transparency, at least now compared to their original stance of not even allowing us to market. Now at least we'll finally be able to see the contents of that BIR box.
Thank you, Attorney Tolosa. Question?
Hello, good morning, good afternoon. Hi, Kongs, Kong Chel and Kong Laila. I understand meron na po tayong all in all nasa 15 na yung mga private prosecutors natin. Then the public prosecutors is, I think, 11. However, the legal counsel of VP Sara remains at 16. Ano pong purpose and reason bakit tayo nagdadagdag ng mga private prosecutor para lang po mabigyang linaw ang publiko na hindi ibig sabihin ito ay nahihirapan ang prosecution team?
Hindi po talaga ibig sabihin ito na nahihirapan ang prosecution team. Kaya lang is the judgment, is the call of the prosecution team that mas maganda kung meron talagang tumutulong at meron talagang participation din ang private prosecutors, because that is actually allowed for a more efficient and orderly and fair presentation of the case. So makakatulong po yan because these are seasoned lawyers, and their experience, of course, can help the prosecution in presenting its case clearly and with seriousness that the Filipino people deserve. So clearly, credibly, and more direct and more efficient, effective presentation of evidence.
Same with din po ba with the public prosecutors? Meron din pong hatian yung mga private prosec ng mga articles of impeachment?
Meron po. Kasi meron po may mga witnesses, of course, na magpipresenta public prosecutors. Meron din mga witnesses na magpipresenta sa direct examination, for example, ay private prosecutors, but always under the control and direction of the public prosecutors, because that is the normal practice, that kapag merong private prosecutors involved, kailangan na ang control pa rin yan ng public prosecutors.
If ever na pag-uusapan na po ba kung yung mga hatian nilang 15 private prosec?
Ongoing po ang proseso na yan, yung pag-a-assign ng specific witnesses. Thank you.
Siguro last question na lang po from my end. Regarding lang po ulit kay Court Sheriff Abby Andres, after nung mga reports po kasi na kasama siya sa mga witnesses ng prosecution team, nag-post siya sa Facebook na kanyang press statement na hindi daw po siya makikijoin as a witness for impeachment. Ibig sabihin po ba nito, Kongs and Private Prosec, na hindi po natin nakakausap itong mga witnesses na ihaharap po natin?
To whom are you addressing your question? maybe
Kahit sa mga Kongs na lang po.
Yung nabanggit na kanina na yung discretion kung sino yung tatawagin namin na witness ay talagang nasa kamay ng prosecution. In terms of witnesses who wala po sa desisyon mismo ng isang testigo kung na siya ay magiging testigo o hindi. That's why we have the compulsive power provided in the Senate Rules of Impeachment na pwedeng issuehan ng subpoena kung sino man yung testigo. Now, of course, there are several factors involved in terms of yung pakikipag-communicate sa mga witnesses. On the one side, we want to make sure that walang magsasabi na in-influensyahan namin yung mga testigo. On the other hand, it would also be good that we communicate with them if it is at all possible. Hanggang doon na lang po yung sagot ko.
Alright, thank you po.
Thank you. We'll entertain one last question from Marian.
I just want to follow up po. Kasi may nagtanong na bakit daw ang dami ng private lawyers. I just learned and researched po na during the Corona impeachment trial, umabot po pala ng 57 or almost 60 private lawyers po yung nag-join sa prosecution team in our bid to remove yung si Corona. Ma'am, baka may ballpark figure, meron kayong estimate. Gaano po karami this time ang who wants to join the prosecution team in its bid to remove VP Sara?
I don't have the estimate now, pero tama ka, wala namang limit. So discretion uli po yan ng prosecution kung ilan ang private prosecutors na magpapatulong sa presentation of the evidence.
Gusto ko lamang pong idagdag na hindi naman po unusual o hindi pangkaraniwan yung request ng participation ng private prosecutors. Sa ordinaryong korte po, ginagawa po ito. May mga kaso, lalo na yung complex litigation, that private prosecutors are allowed by public prosecutors to appear and to participate actively in the prosecution of cases. In the impeachment case, I think we have listed 60, we asked for 62 trial dates, supposedly for 62 witnesses. So imagine nyo po yung preparasyon na kailangan to prepare 62 witnesses. So even if there are 15 or 20 or even 25 private prosecutors, madami pa rin pong trabaho na kailangan gawin kasi kailangan background checks, kailangan mag-i-review lahat ng dokumento, kailangan i-prepare yung witnesses or yung possible questions, i-research yung lahat ng pwedeng i-research. So, hindi po madami yung 15 or 20. Kagaya nga po ng nasabi nyo, in other impeachment cases, lampas pa ng 50 yung private prosecutors.
Just to add, siguro ito hindi masyadong kabisado ng mga hindi abogado. Ang prosecution kasi para kang nagpapatayo ng bahay. Ang prosecution ang may burden to establish the basis for the charges. Ang defense naman, ang tungkulin nila ay i-demolish yung bahay. So kung yung analogy na yun ang gagamitin natin, sa pagpapatayo ng bahay, maraming plano yan, maraming gagawin. Kailangan mo pa ng kontraktor, kailangan mo ng mga karpentero, mga master carpenter at iba pa. Ang pag-demolish ng bahay, madali lang yun. Ilan lang ang taong kailangan mo is wrecking crew at tapos na. So sa mga magsasabi na hindi handa ang prosecution, kaya napakarami ang kinukuha nila mga abogado, hindi po totoo yun. Talagang nagkakaiba lang ang trabaho ng prosecution sa trabaho ng defense.
On that note, may tanong pa? Mayroon pa pong gusto magbigay ng pahayag?
I just wanted to add, it's also worth mentioning that in the pretrial brief alone, the prosecution has listed, at least identified 56 witnesses, 57 witnesses, and over 500 documentary exhibits. So we really need all help that we can get.
Gusto ko rin i-include, the defense in fact listed or indicated that they have around 95 witnesses. No? Paghahandaan din po ng prosecution yun. So kasama sa trabaho po yun.
Na lang, kuya. Last na lang po, sorry. Tama po ba na hindi tayo papayag na hindi mabuksan yung BIR box because, also under the bank secrecy law, may exemption po sa batas, yung impeachment cases. And hindi tayo papayag dun sa IRC lang, na executive session lang dapat.
I-insist po talaga ng prosecution na kailangan mabuksan yung BIR box at makita yung kanyang contents. This is an impeachment case. This is a superior constitutional mandate at malaman talaga ang katotohanan, ano yung at maipoprove ng prosecution ano yung importance or significance ng mga tax records na yan in relation to the issue of unexplained wealth, which is Article 2 of the Articles of Impeachment. We will definitely insist on that.
All right, we'll entertain one last question.
Good afternoon. One last clarification lang po kay Attorney Jay. Kasi sabi niyo po kanina, even the inventory of its content, gusto po nilang under the executive session. Tama po ba? Ano po yung parang implications ito kung mismo yung pag-iimbentaryo ng nilalaman ay under executive session? So ibig sabihin po, hindi malalaman ng publiko kung ano yung laman ng box?
That's correct. That's, as I mentioned a while ago, that's one of the express conditions that they indicated in their submission, when they agreed to have the box open. So sabi nila, they changed their stance. They said, okay, we're agreeing now. Pwede na nating buksan yan. But again, conditions are executive session and dapat hindi isa publiko itong mga dokumento na to.
All right. On that note, pasalamatan natin ang ating mga public and private prosecutors sa pagbibigay nila ng update at kanilang mga pananaw ukol dito sa impeachment process. Salamat din po sa ating mga kapatid sa media sa pagbibigay ng pagkakataon na makapagpaliwanag ang ating mga public and private prosecutors. Magandang tanghali sa inyong lahat.